We're back for another week on the Backyard Talks podcast show. Um, Today I have another guest, a special guest, from my alma mater. Um, and he is one of a kind athlete at DePaul University. But before we start my show, I would just like to thank all the viewers for listening. So without further ado, today I will be interviewing Santiago. Is it Davila?
Yeah, Davila. Yeah.
Davila. Okay,
Yeah.
Davila.
Everyone thinks it's two L's, but it's one L. So yeah, Davila.
Santiago Davila.
Yep.
He is Division One men's soccer goalie, who plays at DePaul University. Santiago is currently a junior, majoring in communications with a focus in sports journalism. Is that accurate?
Yes, that is true. That is very accurate. Yes.
Okay. Well, Santiago, I want to thank you for joining me. I know you have a busy schedule with school and, being an athlete, and that comes with a lot of responsibility. So, I just want to say thank you for joining me today.
Yeah, thank you for having me. I'm excited to see what we're about to get into. This is like right up my alley because yeah, I'm big into sports journalism and yeah, just having a good talk about sports in general. So I'm looking forward to it.
All right. So, just a soft intro, just getting to know you until we dive into the real in-depth questions. Um, Santiago, how you doing? How's life going for you?
I'm doing real good. Winter's been pretty cool in Chicago, so it's been a pretty calm winter. So I mean that'll always keep the spirits high. It's a sunny day today, so yeah. Anytime it's sunny outside, I'm happy. But yeah, in general, yeah, I'm doing really well. We're in the off season right now with soccer, so they got us lifting heavy and training heavy. So yeah, this is the time to build some muscle and yeah, do all that sort of stuff off the field. So yeah, I'm doing well. I'm feeling good. Yeah, soccer keeps me busy most of the time. So yeah, I can't complain. Yeah.
That's what's up. I'm glad to hear you're in good spirits. I know the winter can be really long.
Right.
And like, if you're not active, you're gonna get lazy and that can
Yep.
lead to other things.
Exactly.
Um, so now that you talked a little bit about what's currently going on, I want you to tell me about your upbringing, like where you're from, your family background. You can even go as far back as your ethnicity because I see your last name is Davila, right?
Correct.
Davila? Yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah,
Yep.
just tell me about like, where you grew up, your hometown, and like, what brought you um to the center point of where you are right now.
Absolutely. So I guess to start from the beginning, I was born in Guadalajara, Mexico.
Hmm.
So yeah, I was born there. It's the second biggest city in Mexico. It's like pretty it's just about the I'm pretty sure it's just about the size of Chicago, so that to scale it up, give you something to balance it out with. Yeah, I was born there. I grew up there for first couple years of my life, and then I moved to Milwaukee, and yeah, I grew up there most of my life, and yeah, so played a lot of soccer there, got to know a lot of I guess that's where my main like soccer I guess my soccer network is from around there in the Chicago area. But yeah, I mean getting into soccer, I got to give it up 100% to my dad. My dad was the one that just like put it in me like just naturally. It just comes naturally, being from Mexico and everything. He loved soccer growing up. So, I mean, I think that's probably one of the things I'll be most grateful for my dad. Yeah, I think that's probably one of the things I'll be most grateful for from him. Just showing me like it's not like he forced it like on me like to play soccer, but it was more like he would play with me in the backyard. We would just kick the ball around, or we would go to the park, kick the ball around for a couple hours. But like those days were like some of my favorite days. Like getting out of school at like I don't know, like midday, 12 o'clock before you'd still do the full day and just go straight to the park and play for like an hour, 2 hours. And Yeah, that's where the foundation starts, I think, of just having the ball at your feet from such a young age and all that. But yeah, I mean, he would take me and my brother, my older brother, that was my only sibling. So yeah, we would just spend hours just kicking the ball around, just playing against each other. And on top of that, my brother was he's older brother, he's 4 years older than me. So he would always take me around to play with his older friends. So it would be like me playing against a bunch of kids that are like 4 years older than me. And when you're young, like that's a massive difference, right? So yeah, I got used to playing against bigger kids, just playing, yeah, just being put in a tougher environment where there's a little more pressure on you when you have the ball. You got to be tougher. I mean, obviously there were plenty of moments where I just got my butt kicked in and just put on the floor, but that's character building, right? So so yeah, that all those experiences were so I think fundamental in like creating that base like foundation for my soccer career because all those things like looking at how I play now, like it helps you play with so much more freedom. Like you're not thinking about the pressure that comes with like the situation you're playing in and everything. So yeah, I think all those little experiences before starting to actually play really competitive soccer really created that good foundation that I can play off today. And then going off that, just like my club environment when I played at FC Wisconsin, so that was always a really solid club in Wisconsin. And yeah, the team I had around me, I'd say we were one of the best team like the club has had in years. And we weren't fortunate enough to ever win like a national championship, but we made it to a couple finals. And just like all those guys that I played with then, like so many of them are still playing college soccer now. And yeah, it's cool to see like where everyone has gone, how they're doing and everything. And then yeah, when was it about I was about 16, yeah, 15, 16. I went back down to Mexico to play for a little bit at Chivas de Guadalajara, the team, the professional team from the city that I'm from. And yeah, that was another really good experience just playing a different style of soccer down in Mexico. It can be a little more aggressive and yeah, just you're playing on like a different type of grass, like it's just a different environment. So I think all those experiences there just give me that foundation that I'm talking about that I can build off now because now I play college soccer. I've been playing it for 2.5 years now, and yeah, all those experiences just make this like it makes me it helps me settle into it a lot more. But that doesn't go without saying that coming in my freshman year here, like there was a huge learning curve for me to become better as a player and for me to really step into like the level that is played at the college level because I think at the beginning I was good enough to play in it, but I think there was a lot of improvement. And I think if you would have put me in a game at the beginning, I think I would have played pretty well, but I don't think I would have been playing with the most confidence. And I think soccer's all about sports in general are all about confidence. If you're playing well one game, then you're gonna go into the next game playing even better. So yeah, all of that, all those things just made me the player that I am today. And all those experiences, 100%. Like I'm just so grateful for them because I think without all of it, then I have no idea. Like soccer's like my whole. Sometimes I think about it, I'm like soccer's like my whole personality. Like like I don't know if I do anything else. Like I just play soccer and yeah, play soccer and go to school. So yeah, that's all that there really is.
I mean, you kind of jumped right into my next question, how does the game influence your life?
Right.
But that's definitely great to hear. You talked about so many things. Main thing that I can highlight is the foundation, which is needed in any relationship. You need to make sure things are right. Otherwise, there might be turmoil or there just might be, leaks along the way that make out to be a bigger disaster later down the line. So
Yeah.
that's all.
Even
I'm
yeah,
sorry.
no, even guys like at the professional level, like you see some guys like they had a good sports foundation, but then a lot of the stuff that like comes with that is also making sure you have a good foundation outside of the sport, like just having a good like I guess a good base, like your family, your friends, so all that stuff. Like you because you can get to the professional level and not have that, and eventually it might catch up to you. So yeah.
Oh, I definitely agree. And as you were talking about your upbringing, I had two questions came to my head. One about like, your background, growing up in Mexico before you went to Milwaukee. Um,
Right.
so do you come from like a Spanish speaking household where like
Yeah,
everyone,
both my parents are Mexican. I was born in Mexico. Yeah, so my whole family's Mexican. So yeah. I think that also opens a lot of doors for me, like just being able to connect with more people, obviously outside of soccer and in soccer. I get to talk to people about soccer in English and in Spanish, which gives you a lot of insight to the game too.
would you say that with face-to-face interactions, people think you're like once they hear you speak Mexican, like that
Yeah.
you're Mexican?
100%. Yeah. I mean, yeah, I'll go into any conversation. People just like expect like I'm just like an American kid or something like with
Yeah.
a slightly ethnic background. But yeah, and then they'll hear my name and then they'll hear me speak and like, oh wow, like damn, that's not what I expected.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's awesome.
Yeah, that happens all the time. Yeah.
Um, but yeah, that's a real advantage. And then you mentioned that when you were in high school, you got to play at the national level in the sense of being exposed to top talent around the country.
Yeah.
Um, did you play against any guys that like are like pros right now or play for the
Yeah.
national team?
Yeah, plenty. Yeah, so when I think I was 14 at the time. Yeah, I got selected to basically so the US like youth national team fully associated doesn't start until they're like I think it's like 15 maybe. So when I was 14 like the most like equivalent thing you can do to that is this thing called ID2 Spain. Well, it's called just ID2 in general. So it's like national identification program. So like you get selected to go to these camps with like hundreds of kids and you basically at these like it's like a tryout sort of and yeah these coaches it's some of the best coaches from around the country so they just have some of the best talent from around the country and they have us all like playing against each other and like whether it's like a full-sided game or a small-sided game and then yeah, you do the camp, you go back home, and then eventually so they do these camps all over the country. They do, I think it's probably like 10 to 12 of them all over the country. And then after all those, they come down and they choose their like their top 24 players, I think it was. And I was fortunate enough to be selected for that. And they take that team out to wherever it may be. Usually it's Spain, but I know they've done trips to like Argentina to where else? Argentina, Italy, England. But for my trip, I was fortunate enough to play in Spain, which was it was called the Mediterranean International Cup. And in that tournament, we played against Inter Milan and a couple players there that are now in the first team. And even in my ID2 Spain team, there's a bunch of kids in there now that are playing at the professional level. Like off the top of my head, Daniel Edelman. He's a midfielder at the New York Red Bulls in the MLS now. Caden Clark. He's a midfielder for Red Bull Leipzig in Germany in the Bundesliga now. Who else? Cameron Dunbar. He was playing at LA Galaxy for a bit. So yeah, there's plenty of those guys that came out of that team that are now playing like at a really really good level. And then yeah, we played against and I mean that whole experience just being out there, like our hotel, we were in a hotel with like all like Barcelona's academy, like Real Madrid's academy. So just seeing how those kids live day to day, like because those kids in those academies, like they wake up, they go to school at their training ground, and then after that they go play soccer for like 5 hours a day. So just to see like how professional that environment is and even that like my neighbors in the hotel were like Xavi Simmons, which I don't know if you know, but he's on the Dutch national team now. He played at Paris Saint-Germain for a while, and now he plays at I think he plays at Red Bull Leipzig as well in Bundesliga. So yeah, so many of those kids. I think Phil Foden as well. He was in that tournament, and he's on the English national team, and he was on Manchester City at the time. They were in our hotel, so yeah, just seeing all those kids, and especially at 14, like that's such a critical age in soccer development. So yeah, being around them, it gives you, it opens your mind to, because we play soccer in a slightly different way here in the United States, but to see them do it at the peak level, like the best level there is in the world, it was another experience that like I'll never take for granted. Like one of the best experiences I've had soccer wise.
No, that's awesome.
Yeah,
I think, anytime you can get that real exposure to talent around you that's making it big, then, it only kind of helps foster your growth and your development. Um,
100%.
but you mentioned at the end that US plays soccer in a different way. Can you explain that?
I mean, yeah, definitely. I think the the gap is definitely getting closed between the US and like South America and Europe. But just I think we're definitely on the verge of being like what would we call it, a footballing nation, like a country that's strong in soccer. But I mean, growing up, like when I was younger, like thinking about the style of play that we would play sometimes compared to the style of play that you would probably see in Europe or something. Sometimes ours was a little just like uglier, if you want to call it that, or more like straightforward instead of, because you go to these youth academies in Europe, and they're focusing on how can we play like really nice, effective, like pretty like soccer by moving the ball, sharing it really well. But sometimes in the US, what I've noticed is sometimes it's just straight about results, like just more results based instead of development based,
Mm,
because that development based makes you, I mean, it I think people worry too much about results when you're young here instead of worrying about the development sometimes, which is what, I mean, Europe has done for so many years. Just focus on the development and everything will come after, basically. And but yeah, I think we're 100% catching up. Like if you look at the way I mean the way our US, like the national team alone, like so many of those guys, like I think the whole, probably the starting 11 from that team plays in at a good European club now. So to see that is really positive. And then you hear a lot of stuff about especially in Germany, a lot of German clubs are starting to come to the US to scout players, look for players, because there's been so many good young American players that have gone to Germany and just done so well. So yeah, it's really good to hear how positive the rest of the soccer world is starting to look at the US. And I think that 2026 World Cup, which is going to be here in the US and Mexico and Canada, that's just gonna, I think after that, that's just gonna really solidify the US's like position in the soccer world for sure.
No, that's 100% accurate, and I would totally agree. For you, like, because you were actually born in Mexico, right?
Mhm.
Would you, if you had to choose between which country are you choosing Mexico or US?
Ooh, I've always had this question asked for me when I was young, but I think I have to go Mexico,
Okay.
because I, as grateful as I am for the US and all the great relationships and all the amazing stuff I've done here, like I was born in Mexico and my whole family's Mexican and I've always identified as Mexican. So yeah, I mean, but I mean when the US plays though, like I have so much love for the US, but when the US plays Mexico, that's when it gets a little tricky.
Okay.
Yeah, that game's always fun to watch though. It's always feisty, everything. Yeah, it's got everything in it.
Oh no. With every Hispanic person I've met, they have a true passion for soccer. So
Yeah,
I definitely understand that. Um,
100%.
and then now as we just like go back into a little bit of your background and the position you play, being
Yeah,
goalie, tell me how that developed and like maybe when you realize like okay, this is solidified and
right.
um because like yeah, I want to know about that as well as like maybe when you would be when you thought you were good in the sport of soccer.
Right. Yeah, no, that's a really, really good question actually, like going into the goalkeeping stuff especially. But I think my that foundation for goalkeeping started when I would play in my backyard. My dad used to buy me and my brother like this big nice goal that we would just shoot on all the time. And eventually like my dad would he would come out and play with us and he would like put crosses in for my brother because my brother was the older one obviously.
Mhm.
And so being the younger one, like I wasn't playing soccer at such a competitive level yet, like my brother was. So my dad would be like, "Oh, like, do you want to come out and play with me and like me and your brother?" So I'd go out there, and my dad would put crosses in for my brother to like practice heading, like practice just shooting, finishing on the goal. And eventually, I don't remember exactly how it happened, but before you knew it, I was always the goalkeeper while my dad would be crossing for my brother, and I would just be the one trying to stop all the shots, whatever. And yeah, and then eventually I started playing at a slightly more competitive level. And at one point I would play as like a center back defender um for like one half, and then the other half I would play as a goalkeeper. So me and this other teammate of mine would switch up between goalkeepers. So we would just trade halves. And then eventually I got into a really good like competitive team, and there was a full-time goalkeeper on the team. So I was like, okay, this is it. Like I'm a center back, I'm a defender, like this is it. And to to gas myself up, I was a really good defender. I'd like to say I was a really good defender, and sometimes to this day I'm like, wow, like what if I would have stuck to that? Like I wonder if I would have been like as good of a player as I am now. But yeah, that's a big what if in my soccer career. But yeah, I was a good defender at the time. And then our goalkeeper for that team, he moved to Arizona. So our coach was like, he was like, "Oh, like wow, we have to go recruit a new goalkeeper. Like we got to go find a new goalkeeper." And I remember I remember one night I told my mom and my dad, I was like, "What do you guys think if like I just try becoming like the full-time goalkeeper, just play like both halves and just see where it goes?" And they're like, "Yeah, like try it. Like go talk to your coach about it." So yeah, I remember that night I went to practice and I tried talking to my coach about it, and he was like, I mean, he was like, "Yeah, why not? Like I know you used to play goalkeeper. Like we'll see like how it goes for you." And I remember that weekend we had a tournament. We had a tournament. We were really young still, like probably like 13, 12, 13 years old. And yeah, I just hopped in goal for that tournament and I had an unreal tournament. I was so good. Like I just remember like making saves left and right, like playing with so much freedom, playing with a lot of confidence. And then after that, it just stuck. And I was a goalkeeper ever since. And yeah, like it's funny how like life sort of takes you there too, because like if that goalkeeper of ours never leaves and he just stays on our team forever, like I'd probably be a center back, and who knows if I'd be at DePaul, if I'd be playing at a different level, who knows? So yeah, I mean it just came naturally, and I'm happy the way it happened, you know, like for it to just have come naturally, and here I am. So yeah, I'm really grateful for it.
No, that's terrific. I think when you can talk about the melting pots of like really what puts everything together, that's
Exactly.
that it just kind of adds more to the story especially at the end when like you can say it's all said and done like hey, this is how it got here.
Right.
So I really like that. And then like, kind of as you realize like, okay, I have a talent for defending and I can be the main goalie. When
hmm
did you realize you could play at the next level?
That's another good question. I'd say I I think I was always so passionate for soccer, and I think my goal ever since I got into it was always like the dream. Yeah, like when you're young, like you can't see anything but the future of being a professional soccer player, and you're like, wow, like that's it. Like I know that's what I want to do with the rest of my life, and I know that's 100% like where I want to go. So yeah, I think I always had that aspiration to continue playing at a higher level, but I think the moment I realized I could play at a really high level was probably when I was selected for that trip to Spain and that team, because I realized I was like, wow, I'm 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 one of the best players of 24 guys in the whole country. Like 24 of us were selected out of I'd say like maybe put 500 kids, something like that. 500, 600 kids. And I realized it because it was not only because I was selected in a group of 24 out of 500, but just the players that were around me on that trip. I was like, wow, like I've played with good players before, but nothing like this. Like I know this is like the cream of the crop. Like all these guys are the best players on their teams, and that's when I realized, wow, I'm one of the best players on my team. So I think after that, and then being in that environment with all those kids that are from professional academies from the best clubs in Europe, that was probably when I was like, wow, like I think I could really do this. And then I think from there I just pushed on, and I knew that I wanted to play either at the professional level, at the college level, wherever the game takes me. So yeah, I think it was more about the people that I was playing with, and I recognized that I could play at their level and I fit right in. Like it wasn't like it's not like they would give me the ball and I'd be like slowing the game down. It was like you gave me the ball and I could keep up with them. So yeah, that's when I was like, wow, this is it really.
I like that. I think it's cool to hear about like how you can realize like your hidden talents and understand the moment and take advantage of it.
100%.
So as you talked about your aspirations of like how you got to become a goalie and stuff. Everyone has like a style of play or like a game style. Um so if you had to describe your game to to anyone, how would you describe it? And like yeah, what's your style?
Oh, I like that question a lot too. That makes me think a lot. Um, I like that. I'd say I'd say to start when I'm playing my best, I'd call it playing with a lot of freedom. Freedom in the way that I'll pick out a pass that maybe before, when I'm not playing with as much freedom, I double guess myself on it. So like say somebody like my defender will pass me a ball back, and instead of trying to take when I'm playing with freedom, I would take that touch either to my left or right foot, because when I'm playing with freedom, I know that I can hit passes with either foot. And yeah, when I'm not playing with freedom, I'd probably only go to my right foot because that's my strongest foot. But
Mm.
yeah, I'd say when I'm playing at my best, I'd call it freedom, just playing with freedom and confidence. And I'd say a little bit of the freedom and confidence that comes with the goalkeeping style that comes from Latin America, really. Because I think there's because each country and like even region of the world sort of has like its own style of play. And I think like the freedom that Latin American goalkeepers, not just in Mexico, but like goalkeepers in Argentina, Colombia, Brazil, all around, like everywhere in Latin America, I think they play with so much like freedom and so much aggression too. Like just being aggressive, coming for balls, being aggressive, like hitting passes, everything. So I think that came with playing a little bit in Mexico. Like you realize like, wow, so many of these other goalkeepers around me like play with that freedom of like, oh, I don't care like what the result of this pass that I'm gonna hit is, but like I know that if I just go for it, then that's when I have the best chance of actually making that pass. Because if you try hitting that pass and you second guess yourself, then obviously you have more of a chance of not hitting it correctly. And then on top of that, I'd say there's a little bit of my style of play that comes from just the English influence of soccer. Because I think England's influence on the game is like probably one of the biggest influences on my game and just on the game in general. Because just yeah, they have so much what's the word? Yeah, influence is the word really. And I used to watch like when I was younger, I used to watch so many English goalkeepers like see how they pass the ball, see how aggressive their style of play is because the English game is really physical. And just seeing how physical a goalkeeper can get and just getting real what people call it in soccer, getting stuck in, like really just going for after something, like going into a tackle, going for a ball that you might not get to, but just going straight through it. So yeah, I think all those influences made me the player I am today, for sure.
So that did that just come from like watching soccer like nationally, like the World Cup and
Yeah,
stuff like that?
yeah, 100%. I think, yeah, the other thing that has created my style of play is just my pure passion for the game. Because I think I've met a lot of guys through soccer that they love playing it, but they could never sit down and watch a game for 90 minutes, you know? Like they'll sit there for 30 minutes and then they'll be like, all right, like or they'll get their phone out and just be bored, or they'll be like, oh wow, like I think I've had enough of this, like that's it. But yeah, I think that passion for the game and just I think I was always willing to learn something new about the game, to learn something new about my position, to see how someone else does it because I like the way that I do it, but what if the way this guy does it is a little more effective? So I think that constant passion and always looking for something new in the game really created that just really created the player that I am today now.
All right. Yeah, the style of play is like really important because I know with goalkeepers or any position you're playing in any sport, everyone's gonna have different different styles that speaks to them. Um and like, I mean, I appreciate you describing that for me and anyone that's gonna listen. So as we transition into just like, more sports talk, getting to know about your passion in soccer and stuff. When you were going through the recruiting process, um, what were the main schools that you were considering committing to for recruitment? And did you ever think about exploring playing professionally? Because like, that's a common question that I
Yeah.
would say like people that play get.
Yeah, 100%. I mean, first off, um, I think what some of the schools that I really wanted to go to were a lot of them were in the Big East to start with because the Big East, the conference is just so good soccer wise. And I also really like the cities that the Big East has. Like first I remember when I was early in high school, I was like, wow, that'd be really cool if I could play at Villanova or St. John's. I remember those two were like circled on my list. And then I was like, but realistically, do I want to go to like do I want to be that far away from my family? And that's when I started realizing how important like being close to my family was. And I remember being recruited by I think the most random one that I got a call over quarantine from Navy, and I was like I was never considering this at all, but it'll be interesting to see what they have to say. And I remember getting on the call, and the coach he was like, yeah, so after your 4 years here, like you do owe us like I think it's like another 4 years of service in the Navy. And I was like, all right, like maybe that's not the path I want to go down. But yeah, I knew that I knew that I wanted to be closer to home and I wanted something different. And my coach from club was really connected with Marquette because he played there.
Mhm.
And I like the idea of playing there. They've always had like a pretty solid team and whatnot, but I knew I wanted something different. I didn't want to stay in Milwaukee because it's just something that I've known so much. and then eventually I, I think I think everyone that gets recruited by DePaul gets also recruited by Loyola. And
Mm,
I was getting recruited by Loyola a little bit, and I talked to them. Their goalie coach, that was the one that was in contact with me. Eventually, he left for a job at Northwestern. So then the contact between me and them sort of just naturally came to a close. And then DePaul came in, and that's when I was really like, wow, like I really like the idea of going there. And yeah, I know they used to come to a lot of our games when we were younger. And yeah, and then I started researching DePaul a little more. I knew they were in the Big East, which caught my eye immediately. And I was like, wow, like playing in the Big East. And then I was like, wow, living in Chicago and playing in the Big East, like that's huge. And then on top of that, being in Chicago, playing in the Big East, and being only an hour and a half away from my family was, I think that last part, being only an hour away, hour and a half away from my family, was the icing on the cake. Because like looking at how often I see my family while I've been in college is, it's awesome. Like literally this past weekend was my mom's birthday, and my parents came up for the day. We got dinner, like, and they went home right after, like that, like it. And I think about, like, what if I would have gone to school out east, out west, like I would have had to like get on a plane, stay on the plane for like 3 hours, and then from there go home, everything. So just, yeah, everything about DePaul was just so attractive. Living here, everything about it. And then to touch on the part about you saying like playing professionally, like I definitely considered that when I was in Mexico playing there for a bit. I was playing in the youth academy up until I was like 16, and from like 14 15 to 16. And I liked the idea of it, but I think something that was so there's always that uncertainty of like, okay, I could make it at the top level in Mexico, but um what if I don't? It's always the what if I don't, what if I don't. So I think I talked with my parents so much about it, and they were like they're like, yeah, like having that backup of a degree, having the opportunity to still play at a really high level in the US, and being able to study while you're doing it. And then as the thing that really made me decide on 100% coming to college was the fact that once you're done with your 4 years here and you have that degree, if you really want, you can still go for the opportunity to try to play professionally after. Like it's not like that door is completely closed for you. And once I realized that, I think that really like closed the deal for me, and I knew that I wanted to go to college here. And yeah, and not only just anywhere, but DePaul. And all those influences and factors came into it, and it it made that decision to choose DePaul a lot easier than I thought it was going to be, for sure.
no, that's really important. You touched a lot of base on family and just like the amount of influence they had over your decision.
Yeah.
Mm. I would assume that they probably come to a lot of your home games since it's
Yeah,
not too
100%.
far.
Yeah, they're at every home game, and that's the coolest part about it. Like the like I think one of my favorite things playing soccer growing up was just looking to the sideline and seeing, like, well, my mom would sit with like the other moms and just talk the whole game, walk, or I mean talk and watch the whole game. But then my dad would just go off in the corner by himself and just, typical dad, just be so locked into the game, just standing there like watching the game with, like, just analyzing everything I'm doing. And I think when I was younger, just looking over to the sideline and seeing both my parents on the sideline was, it gave me that confidence, and it gave me that like reassurance of like, okay, like they're supporting me, whatnot. And even if I didn't think it in the moment, like I knew there was a feeling inside me that made me feel like, okay, I know I have the support of my parents, and I know that they're here to watch me and support me. So to have that now in college too, it's like something that I wouldn't have expected to have in college, but now that I do have it, I wouldn't take it away at all.
That's awesome, man.
Yeah.
Family is, what keeps you going. And
100%.
that leads me to my next question. Kind of like what motivates you? Um, looking because I've been to a couple games between men's and women's uh team that you guys have, and I just want to know like what are some goals you have for yourself and your team this upcoming season?
Great question. First off, what I'd say what definitely gets me going personally is just like you said, like what I've touched on before. Obviously, my family, having them there. And then I'd say the other thing is just that, and I'd say this goes for everyone that plays in sports and especially my team. Just that feeling, just knowing what you could feel like after the game if you win, because I think it's easy to say that you're gonna feel good, but there's nothing that replicates that feeling of having put in a full shift in a game, walking out of there tired, but tired because you won and you that high you get after is unreal. Just being around the guys after the game and celebrating in the locker room, all that. And I think something that we've been touching on a lot since the end of this past season. This past season was not good for us. We were nowhere near what we wanted to be at. But I think our goal, we've been talking about it already, and it's barely February now. And we know we want to be in the Big East playoffs in November next season. And I think dr putting a circle on that calendar for when it begins and reminding ourselves that the work doesn't start when we come in for preseason in August, but instead it starts right now. I think that'll do. I think that'll go really, really long way for us because we haven't made the Big East playoffs for a couple years now, and every year that we don't make it, we're sitting at home watching the Big East playoffs, and we don't want to feel that anymore. We want to be there and be amongst it because we know how tough the Big East is. But the other thing with the Big that comes with the Big East is how competitive it is from every level. Like anyone, whether you're at the top of the standings, at the bottom of the standings, anyone can beat anyone on any day, like genuinely. And you can say that about a lot of leagues in the world, but I genuinely believe it with ours, and I feel it from the games we played. Like I think it was like my freshman or sophomore year. It was like the last day of the season, regular season, and Georgetown was number one. They're usually up there in some of the top spots, and they went away to play at Marquette, and Marquette was like bottom of the standings, and they beat them, and their goalkeeper made a penalty save, and with that, Marquette just barely squeezed into the playoffs. So all like that type of stuff. So I think what something else we want to capitalize on are just those big moments. Like we know we're on literally on the cusp of just turning that page and being in those Big East playoffs. And I think another thing that we just want to we just want to win more games at home. Just make Wishfield a fortress. Just know that because the people don't I don't know if people outside of DePaul soccer know this, but it's a real home field advantage playing at Wishfield. Like that
Mm.
train coming over you, like over the top, like no team is used to that. No team is used to having to yell over a city train to direct each other about it. So that whole thing, it's a pretty imposing field. Like it's really narrow too. Like we've had, I think it was my freshman year, like UConn came to play there, and their coach for like the whole week before was asking us for the measurements of the field so that we could like make sure it was the right size for the Big East and everything. So yeah, we want to make Wishfield a fortress, and we want to get in the playoffs, and I think that starts now. Like I said, it starts now, and yeah, I think the group that we have coming in, the new guys that we have coming in, the guys that have already come in, like they definitely slide right in, and I see us on definitely on the way there for sure.
No, that's great to hear. And you wanna talk about motivation. That's it for you there. Um
Hmm.
and I mean you bring a unique perspective explaining how there's like literally like a train station right above the
Yeah.
soccer field. Um like I mean I haven't really visited other soccer fields around the country, especially in the Big East, but would you say like DePaul is just unique because of that, or like would you say a lot of teams are like having the fields be like turf or grass or stuff like that?
Yeah, I'd say ours is the most unique in the Big East for sure. Honestly, it's probably one of the most unique in the country. Like just yeah, that pure fact of the train just coming over you every couple minutes, like it's just people flying over you. And yeah, and then on top of that, how narrow our field is, and it's like I swear our field like shows up out of nowhere. Like people that like aren't familiar with Lincoln Park probably walk around the neighborhood and then all of a sudden they're like, "Oh wow, like there's a whole soccer field like just in the middle of the city here." So I mean compared to other Big East fields, like off the top of my head, like I think all the other fields they're great facilities, like awesome facilities, like some of the best in the country, but nothing compares the that home field advantage that we get because you go to these other fields and I think I think the only field in the Big East that's grass is Marquette, but the rest of them are just solid nice turf, but they're all like nice fields, but none of them are like, oh, you have to also deal with the train, you have to deal with the narrow field, like all these things. So we have all the recipes for or all the ingredients for to make a really, really imposing field and make Wishfield a fortress. So it's literally just a matter of the soccer just flowing with that because all those things that are there to make it that are there. So not so it's literally it's on us now to just make it ourselves.
Mm. Yeah, no, that's great to hear. How do you guys? I mean, not to draw any comparisons, but how would you compare like the team success compared to the women's? Like, are you guys at the same level? Because I'm sure you guys all interact with each other, right?
Yeah, 100%. Yeah, yeah, we're close with them definitely. I'd say I think I think I don't want to speak for them without, them
Hmm.
knowing, but I think I think I want to think that I am speaking for them and ourselves, and I think there has been there's been some disappointment in the last few years of both of us not making the playoffs. We're always on the cusp of making those Big East playoffs. We're literally one win away or one goal away from turning that page and getting there. And I think the goal for I think the culture is changing. I think the culture is in a shift right now for sure of just holding a higher standard for ourselves and for them because within their group I'm sure they're on the way of holding a higher standard and yeah we both have the same goal, make that Big East playoff and push on from there. So I think I can speak for both of us in saying that there's been some disappointment in the last few years, but we know that we are on the verge of turning that page over and it just comes down to the little details now.
Yeah, that's what I'm talking about, man. It's time to start seeing some change. Uh,
Exactly.
we need some hardware at the
Yeah,
ball.
100%. Yeah.
Um, so kind of like you talking about your goals and a little bit about your motives. What's the biggest lesson you've learned or you can take from being around the game of soccer?
Ooh, that's really good. Um, I'll give you one. I'll give you so the first one is it's a classic. You've definitely heard it for sure. Just don't let the highs get you too high and don't let the lows get you too low. And I I agree with that in soccer because there's been moments like off the top of my head, there was a game I remember a huge club game that I was playing and it was like a semifinal to go to the final of the national championship and the game was like 2-2 and we scored, it went 3-2 and this was like the last like 5 minutes of the game and we scored and I'm jumping up in the air by myself like I'm like yeah like we won whatever whatever. 2 minutes later they come back up the other side of the field and they score on us. It's 3-3
Wow.
and I'm like like maybe I should have just kept my cool and just see out the game and then celebrate after. So that lesson alone goes with that that's a lesson that goes with life too. Like I think I've taken that and just implemented into like my whole life. Like just like when an opportunity arises in my life, like I like off soccer, I like to think like, okay, like that's good for you, but is it confirmed yet? Like you haven't secured that position yet that has been offered. So don't get yourself too hyped up. You can celebrate once you've done it and once you're doing it and doing it effectively, but up until it's 100%, like you know that you're in it, then don't celebrate too much. And I think something else that I've learned is just, yeah, I think I've learned how to just interact with people that aren't from the exact same upbringing that I'm from. Like I've met people from every single corner of the world through soccer, and it soccer has opened my life up like in ways that I never would have imagined when I first started playing the game. Like I've met kids from China, from Japan, like from Africa, from Europe, South America, everywhere, and people with such different experiences, like that have just, yeah, it opens your eyes up, obviously, and it gives you, and it sets you up for the rest of your life too. It sets you up to meet new people the rest of your life, to be more outgoing in so many situations. Like think like I can think about so many situations where just because I know that I've met people from somewhere before, that I know I can just dive right into a conversation with anyone, because that soccer foundation that it's given me has just made me so much more outgoing. It's given me a lot to talk about with other people. It's given me like new experiences to share with other people. So yeah, those two things, like it, and that's why I'll always like just vouch for sports in general. Like I think sports give you such a they give you such a great, that foundation, going back to foundation, they give you that foundation for the rest of your life of getting to know new people, putting you in difficult situations, and so it's just so much character growth in general, really. Yeah.
That's good. I mean, that's the way I see it as well. Like people
Hmm.
can learn so much about life through the game of sports.
Yeah,
Um,
for sure.
but that's great to hear. Um, and then, as you kind of have just evaluated, the process in the game of soccer and like how you look at it and what you've seen throughout the years of you playing, or as a player or just a spectator, what would you like to see change? And also, what have you noticed has improved? It could be at the professional level, high school, or where you're at right now.
Ooh, I got a lot to say about this one too. I like this one. To start, I'd say at least at the college level, I think the NCAA needs to do a better job of replicating professional soccer in the way, because the way they do it now, it's a good level, and the I think there's a difference between the level and the rules. And what I'm focusing on more is the rules. And just so little things like so soccer, you probably know soccer professionally does, they do the 90-minute clock, and once it hits 90 minutes, they put up the added time that they're going to do, right, from the time that has been lost. So they'll add what, like 5 minutes, 6 minutes, something like that. But in college soccer, they it's a countdown clock. So it's like basketball basically. So the clock hits 90, and it's like if you shoot right as the clock hits 90, it's like a buzzer beater, you know? So I think like that makes sense in basketball and other sports, but that makes no sense in soccer really. And then on top of that, I think in college soccer you have unlimited substitutions, which is sort of like it's nice in its own ways, but it doesn't replicate the professional game. In the professional game, you have 3 to 5 substitutions, and that's it. Once you get subbed out of the game, you can't come back in, which is different in the college game. You can get subbed out and then you can go back in, which is it. Like I said, it's nice sometimes in its own ways, but I think they just need to replicate the professional game more. And then focusing on things that I think need to change in the professional game are just, I mean, this goes for soccer in general, just the diving. Like diving sucks. Like,
What do
oh
you mean?
man, just flopping, like flopping, like how much, like if you watch, I like I think when it comes to soccer, I'm more conservative in my views. Like I think old soccer, like soccer from the 90s up until like 2010, like that 20-year period is like some of the best soccer I think we ever saw.
Mhm.
And I like it's not that I don't enjoy soccer now, but it just was a lot better back then. And I think we need to this like the new implementation of like the VAR, the video assistant referee stuff, like all that has it's made the game like you see players now, sometimes they'll score a goal and they celebrate, but they don't want to celebrate too hard because they know the goal is going to get reviewed and there's a potential of it getting completely canceled out. So I think that people just need to bring back more the authenticity of the game, really. The pureness of it. I think the pureness of it in the fact of like, wow, you scored a goal and like you don't have to care about like what is gonna happen, the consequences of it, or yeah, just all that little stuff. I think a lot of the refereeing now in the professional game is too like people pick on it too much, and that's why that video assistant referee thing came in, and that's why I think people need to understand that refs are humans and they're gonna make mistakes. Like it's natural. Like we make mistakes as soccer players, and we have the ball sometimes. So it's like, how do you expect them to not make a little mistake on a call? And
So do you guys have a video assistance for your games now?
there's some games in the Big East, yeah, that do have video assistant referee. Like I think they've done it at Wish Field a few times. I know when we played at Xavier. Yeah, we played at Xavier this year. They had video assistant referee. Like there was a shot that they weren't sure if it crossed the line or not, and the referee ran over to the sideline, looked at the video, and gave the goal. So yeah, the fact that you're even seeing it like at the college level is pretty impressive. But I think I'm all for that sort of stuff if it's used correctly. But I think sometimes people look at it too long, and you almost you almost watching something for so long, you convince yourself that it was a foul or that it was offside. So I think people need to recognize that we're trying to fix human error with more humans using video assistant referee. So yeah, it's like there's always going to be mistakes, and I think people need to accept that. And yeah, because eventually nobody's going to want to be a referee anymore because of how much people abuse referees, just like giving them an earful the whole game. And yeah, we just have to accept that. Yeah, r- they're humans. They're going to make mistakes. We make mistakes, and that's the bottom line, really.
No, that's I think that's great insight. Um, you mentioned the flopping, and all I could think about was basketball in the sense of
Yeah.
because I've seen a couple of games now, so I've seen how like some guys use it to their advantage to
Right.
finesse a foul or like get the ball with an upside to score right away.
Mhm. Yeah, and I bet you could say the same about basketball. I mean, basketball and like back in the 90s, early 2000s was a lot more aggressive, right? Like there was like the fouls weren't so like nitpicky. You weren't picking at
Mhm.
little contact to find a foul, right?
Yeah, yeah. I feel like it's lost its like physical touch and like
Right.
it's not as dominant as it once was in that factor. But
Exactly. Yeah.
I think the way the game is going, um, in almost every sport, I want to say for the most part,
Mhm.
uh, like the leagues are trying to like have like more scoring involved.
Yep. That's it. Exactly. Yeah. Just more. Yeah. They want it to be more, I guess, entertainment based.
Hmm.
But I think they're forgetting about like the part where the pureness of the sport, which is the aggressiveness and all that, like we enjoy that as spectators too. So
Yeah.
yeah, it'll definitely be interesting to see where all sports in general, like what direction they head in within like the next 5, 10 years in general, really.
Have you encountered or been a part of any brawls? Because uh I'm sure like you guys have had some like smack talk with the players.
Oh, 100%, 100%. Last year, I mean, yeah, most recently last year, in our spring in the spring we always play the Chicago Cup, which is between us, Loyola, Northwestern, and UIC. And it was the final game of the Chicago Cup, and we were playing Northwestern, and whoever won the Chicago Cup. And we won. And at the end of the game, there was so much smack talk going on. There was like a full on like not brawl in the fact that punches were thrown, but like people just shoving each other,
Yeah.
like people shoving each other, like so much smack talk going on, like some of my teammates walking off the field, like, oh yeah, like we own Chicago now, like shut up, whatever, whatever. So yeah, yeah, it's all part of the sport though. Like at the end of the day, like that's why that's something I've also appreciated in sports. The older I've gotten, just like I can talk, like I can smack talk you like for 90 minutes, but once those 90 minutes are up, like I'm gonna come over to you, shake your hand, and say good game, you know? Like
Hmm.
I think that gentleman's aspect of the sport has become a little more I think it's become more common, I'd say, at the professional level. Like just guys recognizing that this is a job, but at the same time, like they're gonna do it to their best of their ability. And at the end of the day, like if that means that they need to like get into the game by talking some smack, then it is what it is, and they're just gonna shake hands after and move on with it.
Yeah, I mean, roles are really important, and when you identify it, you just got to ride with it.
Right. Yeah, I love that aspect of the sport, just the gentleman's aspect of like, yeah, we may have just gone at it for the whole game and like just been shoving each other, but I'm gonna shake your hand and we're gonna walk away from each other with respect.
Yeah, I mean, it's classy to say at the very least.
Right.
So as we now transition to the later part of our show, I just have a couple more questions for you.
Sweet.
You've been a great guest so far, so I appreciate it.
Yep. Thank you.
So now we're gonna get into the nitty gritty. I want you to like reflect back, think about a difficult time you faced in your life and how you were able to overcome it through the game of soccer.
Right. Um, yeah, that one's easy. My mom had breast cancer, and but fortunately she beat it. She went through it all. She beat it. She's been, I think it's been probably a little more than 10 years now, breast cancer free. She's been so healthy since. But when it happened, like I just remember I talked to a few of my teammates about it, and my club team. I was probably like 13, probably, yeah, 13, 14 years old. And yeah, I talked about it with my teammates, like, they all like surprised me and my mom one day with like a breast cancer ball, and it was signed by the whole team. And yeah, just when that happened, I remember all my teammates they would check on me all the time. Like their parents would come, like bring meals to my house because they knew that my mom couldn't cook. And yeah, they would look after me. Like so many of my teammates would take me to games. I'd travel with like my whole team to tournaments and everything, like while this was going on, and they'd be asking me like, "Oh, how's it going? How are you doing?" And that just when anything's been going kind of tough in my life, I think the best way that I've ever coped with it, all those situations have been by just being around my teammates like 24/7. Like, because when you're around them 24/7, it's usually always good energy. And on top of that, they keep you distracted. Like those are like some of the best guys you could ever have around you, just constantly being around your guys. And just yeah, they lift your spirits, they keep you energized. So all that, yeah,
It's family at the end of the day.
it is.
You got to look after your own. So that's great to hear. Um,
Yeah,
and I appreciate you sharing that.
absolutely. Yeah.
So now we'll get into like the good stuff, the goods. I want you to give me 3 to 5 memorable experiences of you being around the game of soccer. It could be like, oh, this is what I got to partake in, be a part of, witness, or see.
Okay. So I mentioned it earlier, but the one of the first off the top of my head, easily that when I was selected to go to that Spain trip, that was so cool. And on that Spain trip, we also so not only were we at a tournament with like some of the best youth kids in the world, but some of the coaches at that tournament were like ex-professionals. So like you're like you're playing against some of these teams, and you're just like looking at the sideline, you're like, oh my God, like that is him. Like that's like one of the best players to have ever played the game, and now he's just coaching against me. Like that's so cool. And then on that trip as well, we got to go to a Barcelona game at Barcelona Stadium, and I saw Messi play, and I saw Messi. He scored 2 goals in the first half within like 15 minutes, and I just remember like that is the best player I'll ever watch in my life, and I think that's the best player to have ever played the game too. So that experience alone was so cool. And then one of the other best experiences I'd say was we went into this is probably like the best soccer game I've ever been a part of. We went to the regional final for my club team, and this was like U14, and it was the final. We went down 2-0 in the second half. There's like 10 minutes left, and I'm like damn, that was it. Like we lost. Like we're not going to nationals anymore. And then within like 10 minutes we score 2 goals. Crazy scenes. Like we're celebrating in the corner, like everyone's running around the field. It was so cool. And then go to extra time, nothing happens in extra time. And then so the end of extra time's coming to an end, and I'm like, damn, like we're going to penalties. And as a goalkeeper, like you love penalties the because the guy shooting it is he's expected to score, right? So it's like you don't really have anything to lose as a goalkeeper. Like you could either save it and be the hero, or you don't save it and nothing happens, basically. So I was starting to sort of like mentally prepare myself for this, and I was like, wow, we're going to penalties. And I ended up saving 2 penalties in the shootout, and then I scored the winning penalty. And I have so many like photos and videos of it, but like I ran to the corner and hit like the hotline bling celebration because at the time Griezmann, this French player, he was doing
Mhm.
it all the time, and he was one of my favorite players at the time.
Yeah.
And yeah, like that was one of the coolest, yeah, one of the best games I've ever been a part of. And then I'd say the last amazing experience I've had was probably I think playing in Mexico at Chivas for a bit, because that was like my boyhood team. Like that was a team that grew up supporting my whole life. Like I used to watch the games like as a diehard fan with my family. Like we used to get around the TV and like watch these games. And yeah, like being at their training facility, like you run into like the guys from the first team, like from the professional team, and it's so cool because they like see you and they're like, oh hey buddy, like how's it going? And like they'll dap you up and like everything, and you're just like you walk out of that interaction with them, you're like, oh my God, like wow, like I really just met him, and like we just had like a regular conversation. Like we're in the same place right now. Like we're in a pretty similar position. Like we both play at the same club and everything. So just being in that professional environment, it gave me a taste for what it's like to be a professional player. And just being in a place where I've always dreamt of being, like playing at that club, a boyhood club that I always supported, was one of the coolest things ever.
No, I appreciate that. Like that's a lot of experiences, bro.
Yeah, yeah.
I think anytime you can really just be around something special, you gotta soak it in because
Right.
these experiences that you're going through, everything is temporary.
Yeah, no, there's so many moments when all those things were happening where I kind of just sat back and I was like, wow, like I'm really here. Like this is it. So yeah, that goes with everything in life, you know. Sometimes you just gotta recognize like the position you're in and appreciate it because it's not gonna last forever, right?
True.
Yeah.
You remember your first game that you suited up for?
That I what?
That you suited up for? Like
Ooh,
in the
here at
sense,
DePaul?
yeah, DePaul.
Oh, 100%. Yeah. It was my sophomore year. The result didn't go our way, but I remember Gandhi, the other goalkeeper who played mostly while I've been here. One of my best friends. Like I love that guy. Like that's the thing about goalkeepers. Like we call it the GKU. Like no matter if a guy's playing in front of you or not, like you're always gonna like show your support for them. Like make them know that they have your support. Like we all show so much love to each other. So he was I think he was getting like he was getting like his wisdom teeth or something taken out, and And I remember my coach like called me into his office and he was like, look, like he was like, I know you're more than ready for this. Um, yeah, Gandhi's out. I know you're more than ready for this. Just go out there and enjoy it. And I remember I made one of like the best saves I've ever made in like my soccer career in that game. And just the like even though the result didn't go our way, like I walked out of there and thinking like, wow, I played really well. 'Cause that's the thing with goalkeeping sometimes, like you can have a great game and lose at the same time, which is weird because it's just goalkeeping such a weird position. Like you can play well but also lose at the same time. Like yes, it's just some things can just not go your way, and that's sports really. So yeah, I mean it's given me so much character building for stuff outside my life too.
No, I think that's cool, man. Like every time you can take advantage of every opportunity that's in front of you, you got to run with it.
Right.
So I appreciate you like talking about the experiences that were memorable and that like were highlighted throughout your career so far. So I have like two more questions and
Sure.
then show will come to an end. I've really been enjoying this sports talk so far. Like, with every person I interview, I realize that like there's always just so much to learn, and
Right.
this has been great because like you know I'm actually talking to a player on the team at DePaul right now.
Yeah, no, the questions have got me thinking too. Like, like my brain's flowing right now. Like, I'm like, wow, like, it's good reflection for me too. You know, like I'm kind of having a moment here right now where I'm like, wow, like I've had a good career. Like, I'm 20 years old. Like, I'm young still. Like, I've had a really fun like youth career like in this game. So yeah, I'm so grateful for it.
Another thing I just thought about recently too, because I think my last year at DePaul, um, or like, yeah, my technically my last year at DePaul was like when you like were joining DePaul like as a freshman
Right.
and stuff. So like with recruiting, I forgot to ask you earlier, did COVID affect you in any manner?
Ooh, a little bit. Yeah. So I was talking to DePaul before COVID. And I was talking to DePaul before COVID, and I went on my visit literally like a month or two. I came on my visit here to DePaul like literally a month or two before COVID. And yeah, so it was like perfect timing to have gotten the visit in right before, but then COVID hit and recruiting sort of slowed down for everybody in general. And but yeah, COVID definitely it helped me make my decision for sure because I was like I have this really good offer from DePaul, like, and realistically, do I like, am I really looking for anywhere else? And on top of that, is anyone else really looking for me? So, it didn't affect me as much as because I have so many teammates from my club team that really they deserve to be playing at a higher level, but because of COVID, like recruiting, like schools didn't have as much money. Yeah, there were so many less opportunities out there for people, and even like at the professional level, like one of my old teammates, he played in England for quite a bit, and so many players like got released from their academy contracts because of COVID, because the club was losing money, like all this stuff. So luckily for me, it if anything, I think it helped me make my decision, but for so many other guys I know, like it was really detrimental in the process for sure.
No, that's great insight. As I just remember that time when like I was this happened like after my first year at DePaul.
Right.
I'm a transfer student. Like I did one term there, and then the next quarter, like in the middle of like February/March, they're like, okay, everything's online,
Yeah.
Zoom.
Right.
It was such a change. But we're here now and we
Yeah.
can move.
Yeah, that's crazy. It's such a weird world to think that that we used to live in with all that stuff.
Yeah.
Everything's back to normal. Yeah, weird.
I mean, did you do Zoom classes as well online
Yeah,
at home?
yeah. Like in high school, I would we did like hybrid days. Like it'd be like you come in like Monday and Wednesday and Friday, and then like another group would go in like different hours of the day. It was so weird. Like to think about like how we used to live like that. It's crazy.
Yeah, man. Uh, so uh, leading up until my last question now, this is just a reflection and just think about like advice that you want to give to current or future athletes on just how to manage their life between school, social life, and lastly performing at an elite level.
Yeah, that's another great question. I'd say to start, like, if you really like, there's gonna be a lot of first off, there's gonna be a lot of sacrifices. I can't think of so there were so many weekends when I was younger where I was like, wow, like I'm going to like middle of nowhere, like Ohio, to go play like a game against against like two teams, and whole time my friends are back home, like just doing whatever they want on the weekends, right? And yeah, like the first off the sacrifices, and then on top of that, I'd say just make sure you have a good base, like what I've been touching on all throughout the interview, like family and friends, like grab your family, like make sure you know like that they're probably always going to be the best people to go to for advice. Your parents, your siblings, people that care for you the most, because there were so many like difficult decisions I've had to make in soccer, and all the all those sacrifices that they made as well for me to be able to get to the level that I'm at. Like you're always going to be 100% in debt to your family, because the amount of money that they've spent on my cleats, my gloves, my trips, everything, like it goes like it's crazy to think about how much they've probably spent on me just for my experiences. And the only way you can pay them back is by doing everything you do with the best effort you could put forward, you know? So, yeah, great. Have that base of people around you. Know who your people are, and yeah, stick with them. And yeah, just those all those sacrifices you're gonna have to make. It sucks in the moment, but you have to always remind yourself of the goal that you have in the long term. Because I've met so many people that like that were really good at soccer, and they've admitted it themselves. They've looked at me and they've been like, "Don't make the mistake that I made." Like I was in a position, like, so these guys will be like, "Oh, I was in a position where I could have been playing at such a high level, but I was so fascinated by all the other stuff, like partying too much,
Hmm.
uh going to do just doing little stuff instead of focusing on the sport itself, and the potential that they could have in it. And they regret it, and they've accepted it, and their goal now is to teach people that you should to not fall into that as well. So yeah, just recognize that there's going to be sacrifices, and yeah, just have that close knit of people all around you for sure.
No, I think that's really essential and important. And, like all kind of relates back to the beginning of our conversation where you mentioned the foundation is the most important piece that comes together.
Right, exactly.
On this show, recently I've just been starting to do this with um majority of the guests I've had on my show so far. But I have this segment called the current topic time. And I'm gonna give you a list of topics, and then you're gonna pick one that you're interested in, and then we'll talk about it for a couple minutes.
Cool.
So um a lot of the topics have been repeated, but as my show goes on, it's obviously going to be updated. But we have AI, artificial intelligence, social media, um, immigration, migrants, specifically in Chicago, or it could just be far stretched in the US.
Mm.
Um, Climate change or pros and cons?
Ooh, I like the immigration issue in Chicago specifically right now, I think is really, really interesting. And I actually I did a little article with two other classmates for I think it was published in the 14 East Mag for DePaul. And yeah, we went out to one of the police stations over pretty close to Pilsen, where a lot of the Venezuelan immigrants have been staying in. And since I speak Spanish, I was able to interview a couple of them. And yeah, so all like the consensus that they were all gave me was just like they just want to work, and they're more than willing to just like work anywhere here in the US. And yeah, they just want to start getting their life settled down. But it's yeah, I really don't know what the solution is to any of it, because it's such a complex issue, right? Like so many people coming in from such unfortunate situations, but then you have like the issue of where do we house them? How do we get them working like with work permits and everything? So yeah, I mean it's really complicated. And it'll be really interesting to see where like the solution comes from, or what the solution will be, because I mean, fortunate enough, there's been some cold days this winter, but it hasn't been too cold for them, because I know a lot of them are out in the streets and whatnot. But yeah, it'll be interesting to see what the issue looks like come summertime for sure.
No, you bring up a lot of good points. Thinking about the weather, we
Hmm.
actually have had a really good winter so far.
Yeah, we
Surprisingly,
have.
it,
Yeah.
it's in the past, man. You do not want to be outside in the middle of
Oh, tell me
February
about it.
or
Yeah.
January.
Yeah. Exactly.
Some of my friends call it like Shiberia. I'm not sure if you
Yeah.
heard
Yeah.
that.
No, it's serious though. Like, oh, there were a few days this winter where it was like Siberia, but I think in general, like if you look at it overall, like it's been great. Like it's been like 2 weeks straight now of like 40-degree,
Yeah,
like
that's
50-degree
insane.
weather. So I'm not complaining.
Yeah. So, you know, the migrant issue is definitely something that needs to be uh is definitely complex and needs to be addressed. I'm hoping um as far as the summer goes, like we can see some changes because, everyone needs help at the end of the day. Like I still
Right.
s- I see people by my parents' house and like there's people that just need clothes. Like I see them going into garbage cans looking for stuff just to wear for their kids. So it's definitely something that takes more than one person to solve, but any help along the way from any person can serve any justice.
Yeah, for sure, bro.
Um, well, without being said, that pretty much wraps up my show. I want to say thank you again, Santiago, for being a part of my show, and I really appreciate it. Um, and then for everyone that's listening today, thank you for listening. Your support goes a long way. So signing off, this is your host, Anthony, on the Backyard Talks podcast show with Santiago Davila. Did I say it right?
Yeah, that's it. Right on, right on.
All right. DePaul University men's soccer goalie, Blue Demons, um,
Yes,
Blue
sir.
Grit.
Yep.
Um, so stay tuned for another week of this show, where you will get sports discussions and inside perspectives from student athletes, coaches, and sports fans around the game. In addition, um, you can listen or watch the show on social media platform, websites, and apps, including YouTube. So I want to thank everyone for listening, and I hope everyone has a good rest of their day.